If you've been putting off hosting webinars due to the worry that technology is going to cause you challenges, then here are 5 tips for overcoming those webinar tech fears. We are going to cover the webinar tech process from setup to managing webinars live with ease. Now, firstly, before we jump into the tips, it is so important to remember that everybody faces technical challenges. There is no level of growth that outgrows this. I don't care if you have $100 billion business. The confidence you see from the professionals is merely practice. They understand how you handle webinar technology, how you handle the challenges with confidence, with lightheartedness, with the knowledge that everything will be sorted. And yes, of course, it's easier when there's a team supporting you, but they don't, as some of us can, turn to panic, nerves, and anxiety. So we're going to give 5 tips so you're ready to rock your next webinar, tech hiccups or otherwise. So firstly, and this goes to what I was just saying, embracing your journey. Tech hiccups, tech challenges are part of using technology in your business. If you rely on technology, there are going to be some hiccups. Servers are going to be down, computers are going to crash, the internet is going to be unstable. Heck, there may even be a power cut that just completely cuts you off from the outside world. When you stop trying to control every aspect of the situation, you can relax even just a little bit. These things are outside of your control, so don't try to put them inside your circle of control. Now, yes, there are things you do control. Like on my last webinar, I completely forgot to press the record button. I had 3 reminders and it totally flustered me. It was about 5 minutes in. I told people there would be a replay. I had promises that I needed to keep. And I'd already started. I delivered. I've started the content. I didn't want to start the recording now because it was going to skip the first bit. I didn't want to repeat because there was people in the room. So instead I just went, okay, what's the best situation? Let me take one moment to think about this. And I went, I'll just record a second version, which I did right after the first one. My energy was still high. And from that, there were heaps of benefits. The people in the room live were able to share, knowing there wasn't a recording. You can be a little bit more vulnerable. I was able to focus on that connection in the room, not is this going to be okay for the recording. And the second one, I just run through it. I was in the flow. I had practiced the content. I was in the energy, and it was free of any interruptions from the comments. It is an awesome recording, and let me know if you want it. Now, learning and growing, it's a journey. Technology, business, personal development are all part of that growth. Overcoming your webinar fears is an opportunity. Plus, let's just say the smaller the audiences you get started with, the less pressure there is. There aren't 1,000 people seeing the mistake you made or the fact you can't find the share button. There's a smaller audience, which generally, for most of us, means less pressure. So number 2, when it comes to overcoming your webinar tech fears, nailing the tech setup. This is one of the most common barriers I hear with getting started with webinars, the tech setup. What do I need to do to get people signed up, to get people into the room, to share the link, to have a room? How do I even have a room? Polls, question and answer boxes, automated follow-ups. The list is endless. And the issue here, where this actually starts, is comparing the webinars you watch with what you're able to do. You compare established and experienced presenters with bigger businesses and support with what you're capable of, or at least what you think you're capable of. You're comparing step 1297 of somebody else on their webinar journey with your step 1, 5, 12. It doesn't matter what step you're at. They are way ahead of you, and they have faced way more tech challenges than you have, and they have handled them, and they know they have survived, maybe even thrived. So what do you need to nail in the tech setup? There's 3 essential aspects for me. Number 1, a place for people to register. A way for people to express their interest in the webinar. Number 2, a way for you to tell them where that webinar is going to be. And number 3, a place for that webinar to be. The most simple way: people email you or send you a message to say they're interested, they want to come. You send them back the link. You could probably say something nice too. And you use Zoom or Google to host the room. It's not so overwhelming when you bring it down to what you actually need. It really can be that simple. You don't need landing pages, sequences, fancy software. You can add that as you need it at any stage. But please don't let that stop you from connecting with your audience. So tip number 3, managing a virtual meeting room. If you've never hosted a meeting before, it can be totally overwhelming. There are heaps of buttons and options. How do you mute people, turn off videos, kick people out if they're being inappropriate? A huge amount of things you may need to do during a webinar while you're trying to engage and talk and present. It totally understand the overwhelm. Everybody has that. But there's a couple of options that you can really practically do to help you out here, and most of them involve people really willing to help you, aka your friends. First, practice. Ask a friend to join you in a virtual meeting room. And you just be like, you can just be on co-working. They don't even have to actively participate. Like, can you just be in a room with me so I can see the participant box, where the mute button is, figure out the different functions. You could just chat also. You'd be like, just have a general catch up. Secondly, practice. Ask a friend. No, sorry, that was the first one. Practice. The second one is ask a friend to co-host. They can then manage the mute, the video, the inappropriateness, or otherwise. So you can focus on presenting. You can focus on engaging. They will handle the tech. Yeah. Tip number 3 in dealing with your fears when it comes to technology for webinars: learn from others. Like, attending webinars hosted by other people can really help you to see how different people handle different aspects. And it's kind of twofold. Like, of course, you may learn something from their content, from their expertise, from what they share, but more, you will 100% definitely learn something about being a professional and confident webinar host. You may also find some other aspects. Maybe there's a landing page and you're like, oh my God, I just love that. The way that landing page is, or the way it's structured, or the way it flows. Maybe you see how they use breakout rooms. Like, going to other people's webinars really is a huge learning opportunity for content, delivery, and tech. Now, the trick here, because we've talked about this, avoid the comparison. So don't look for somebody with this huge audience. You really do learn best when that person seems approachable. They're within your reach, within your realm. Somebody who's been hosting webinars for 10 years is going to handle things totally differently than somebody that's been doing it for a year. So look for somebody with a slightly bigger audience than you, or somebody with slightly more webinar experience than you. Not necessarily somebody like, oh, well, I'd never be able to do that because they've been doing it for 10 years and I've just started. Number 5, embracing imperfections. Composure. Composure really is key. And that stems from just a general positive mental attitude. And I really dislike that phrase sometimes, to be honest. But it's that confidence that whatever the tech challenges, you're going to find a way to make it work. It may take an agonizing 5 minutes that feels like 5 hours, but you will find a way to share screen so that people can see the slides that you lovingly and thoughtfully prepared. Everyone has experienced tech challenges. Everybody who's ever used technology has experienced tech challenges. Computers misbehaving, Bluetooth, the internet. Like, if you communicate during your challenge, if you can keep calm, like those two things can really pretty much weather any tech storm. And for me, they come from, it's going to be imperfect, and that is okay. Now, beyond the technology, like technology is a tool, and the technical aspects, they are crucial to a webinar. You really can't have a webinar without a virtual room. But it's equally important to be in connection and engaging with your audience. You create connection through your presence, not necessarily through a seamless tech experience. When you work on honing your presentation skills, handle challenges with good humor, you engage, interaction strategies, and just generally being the real version of you, that's actually the really important part. Having a couple of tech hiccups, just sideshows. So tech doesn't need to be your nemesis. Like, take these tips, apply them to your webinars. Embrace the learning process. See it as an opportunity to improve your skills. And remember that every challenge is simply just building your confidence as a presenter. And overcoming tech fears is just a necessary step on the journey of being a business owner. So I hope you can use these tips to stop putting technology between you and your audience, to stop putting technology between you and growing your business, and to stop putting technology between you and your personal growth. Because I believe you can tackle any challenge, including webinar technology, with ease and grace. So if you found this content useful, I would love to hear from you. What's the tip you're taking on today? Or what have you already mastered? Because I am sure you have mastered some of these already. And remember, you can like, subscribe, and share. Now, I will share, if you do need a little bit of extra help with those tech troubles, then reach out and let's talk about how I could support you on your webinar journey with the tech, of course, but also with the delivery and the marketing and the mindset that create effective webinars.